Board games, it's what we're talking about. Board games, we're not gonna shout. We are starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And over here, hello to Sate. It's special, you're correct, Sate. There over in the corner, you will see the person from Braincrack Games known as Emily. And over there, who makes how much money? It is the person known as Chris Backe. And over there is the person who's tall, well, averagely tall, really. But in the games, it's Alan Paull. And over there, it is Jason. Jason is becoming something of a minion. And finally, in this corner, you will see the person dressed in red. You know it's me. Board games, board games. It's what we're talking about. Board games, board games. I'm not gonna shout. Hey, good morning.
Hey!
You made everything rhyme, Bez. Well done.
Thank you very much. It is like my kind of waking up thing. I am Bez. This is bedtime in some places, but for none of us at all. But in New Zealand and Australia, you know, this might be bedtime. And we are going to be talking about Bez and Friends Game Day. We're going to be introducing it with Alan Paull, Chris Backe, Emily Shaw, Jason Hodgson, and myself. And yeah, just talking about the few games that we've got up. And yeah, so before we get into it, why are we doing this? Can I ask you, Jason, to give a quick introduction to why we are even doing this?
In a nutshell, we're doing it to celebrate friends and gaming. So if everyone who's VIPs and our besties, which is our name for our little Bez minions. I'm technically a bestie, but I'm one above, so there.
There were levels to this bestie thing.
Oh yeah, you've got to level up. You've got to earn those experience points, you know. So if you join us on Discord, we're going to have featured games, which are How Much Money, Ming Voyages, Coup for You, and Dead and Breakfast, represented by some of the people up the top here.
And Isaac Shalev sadly cannot make it because, you know, America, it's a bit early right now for them.
Fair enough. And we're also going to have games of Nano Muckell. And if you can kind of convince me, maybe a quick game of Fable. I'm slightly biased. It is my favourite game. So yeah, it's just a day for a celebration of games and friends.
And I want to say good morning to Xates, as always. Yeah, it's like today is something special. And hello, Rob, who is a wonderful person. I mean, all these people are wonderful people. Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure about myself.
And yeah, we will see. Who knows what might happen next time. But yes, everyone is someone that I would consider a friend here. Like, I kind of picked everyone because a mixture of respect for, like, the respect for the game came first and foremost.
I thought you were going to say respectable then. Respectable, not respectable.
No, like, respect for your game. Like, I mean, Voyages, it's a quality game. I've played it.
Absolutely.
And How Much Money, we've played so many times on stream. And whilst I've still not, this is the one game that I've not played, Dead and Breakfast, unfortunately.
I'm just going to leave then, Bez.
Like, that's the thing. Like, you and Lewis, I have so much respect for, and based on your other stuff and what you've come out with, I was like, you've got so lots of games. If you could only pick one of them to show off for this thing, which one would you show off? And Xates, you know that's not true. Stop teasing me. Anyway, let's get into it and let's start talking about brilliant things. Brilliant things. What's a little thing which is brilliant? I thought we'd talk about groups playing games. We've never talked about that before.
All right. Okay. That's...
Have we not? Have we
we've
not?
never talked about groups playing games. We've never. I don't think we've even talked about board games on the brilliant thing.
What a brilliant thing.
Which daily stream is this, Bez, for you?
169.
Board games. It's just
First time talking about board games during
just
a board
passe. It's just passe. Brilliant thing. Yeah.
No, but it's like, can I just ask? Let's go around. But why are board games brilliant? What do they mean to you? Let's go this way, which I guess is reverse clockwise, starting with Alan Paull.
That's called anti-clockwise usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Alan? So what you're saying, Alan, is you're anti-clocks? Is that what we're hearing?
I'm very anti-clocks. Yeah, absolutely.
Who isn't?
Yeah. Board games. I'm just going to shameless plugging. There we go. It's got a board. You see, that's what makes it brilliant because it's got a board and you can do pictures on the back and everything. See? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. What are we talking about again?
Board games. Like, why are they brilliant?
Why are they brilliant? Well, I mean, that's a different. I mean, that's ingrained in my DNA. So it's so obvious that it's. I mean, I designed my first board game, or started to design my first board game when I was 11, and that was, oh my god, over
only 24 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. So it's kind of ingrained in my DNA. So I never really thought about what makes them brilliant. It's well, I mean, the classic answers, the cliched answers are all about meeting people and socially doing all, which is true. All of that social interaction is true. But I'm thinking back to my very first board game, which I designed, which was called Battle with an exclamation point at the end, you know. And it was terrible. It was basically a naval game where you wandered around the world beating up other navies. And I think it's that possibility of drawing other people into something that you're doing yourself that attracted me. So it's actually it's the idea of drawing other people into an activity which you yourself like doing. So it's very selfish, really, I think. And that's what a lot of board gamers do, isn't it? With board games, we try to bring people into the hobby.
So, like, bringing people into your world and sharing, hey, there's this world of, I mean, when you say bringing people into the world, do you mean, like, in terms of thematic games? Like, say, you're now playing this Napoleonic conflict, or, hey, you're moving tickets. I don't know what kind of world this is, like a weird Ticket to Ride world where you're omnipotent and you're moving these trains. And oh, by the way, I want to say hello, Alex. And yeah, Rob is suggesting that games that are just cards aren't brilliant.
I think we can use logic on this if you want. No, but I mean, I haven't advanced very much because you think about it. Look, my first game was about voyaging around the sea, and my this current game is the Ming Voyages, and it's like voyaging around the sea. So it's like coming back full circle in a way. It's all about making voyages. I think it's that voyage of discovery that you're doing when you embark on board game design, and it's bringing other people as players and as designers too into that voyage of discovery. Will it actually work? That's always the big question. Will it actually work? Will it be fun for people? And bringing people into that. There you go.
Yeah, that's a lovely thing. And they're discovering this network of mechanisms together. That's a lovely thing. How about you, Chris? Why do you think that board games are brilliant?
Oh, crap. Got to follow that up with a good, solid answer here. I think it started, so when I started designing games, it was a chance to escape from the usual sort of humdrum life that we all sort of have sometimes. And for an hour or 2 hours, you're terraforming Mars. You're a pirate. You get to do something you'd never get to do in real life. And even if it's something like if it's a satire about office work, you get to do and say stuff there you would never get to do to your real world boss or to your real world coworkers. It's just a chance to escape from your usual life. You get to do stuff and be stuff you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do. So I think that's the thing about board games I really enjoy. And that's one reason why when I design games, I'm always trying to make that thematic mechanic connection between whatever the theme of the game is and whatever the mechanics are. So could blather about that for longer, but
Well, that's a really nice way to think about it. And
yes,
a quick hello to Dave from GGG Games. Cards, and congratulations! I heard that Rockpool got nominated for something.
Oh, wow.
So, Emil, we're just talking about why board games are brilliant for those who've just jumped in, and feel free to give your own suggestions in the comments, but let's go to Emily.
I think for me, they're a way to keep my mind working, especially in this past year, because I've spent a lot of time either thinking about Rowan or looking after Rowan, my son. And so when we play a board game, I actually get to think about something other than how long ago his feed was. It's a chance to feel a little bit intellectual and challenge myself and solve problems, because I've lost that with not being at work. So I've lost that mental stimulation that I would normally get. And it's also a way to usually absolutely thrash Lewis, because I'm quite competitive when I play with him. So apart from Sulkin, he's just corrected me. He did absolutely destroy me when I played Sulkin with him.
I'm getting the impression that this is a sore point.
It is. I really enjoyed Sulkin, but oh god, my brain. I need to play it a couple more times to really get to grips with it, I think, because there's a lot going on.
And Xate has recommended Teotihuacan, if I'm saying that correctly, to Lewis.
Yes, I think we do want to get some more of the heavier games. So I think once we get to grips with Sulkin, we'll be looking at others.
And hello, lovely Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Who's joining us from Thailand, where I've no idea what time it is over there. But I don't know if you'll be able to join in any of the games later on. But we're starting them at 1 p.m. And how heavy is a heavy game?
Well, I mean, Gloomhaven is about 16, 17 pounds. It's a pretty heavy game.
Yeah, I think Snowdonia Deluxe Master Set is about 5 kilos.
Good
so
gosh.
that's only half a heavy game then.
Wow.
That's how the BGG weighting works.
That's it.
They just put everything on a scale and they normalize that to 1 to 5. Yeah.
For those who aren't aware, heaviness in games is actually a measure of the complexity and how difficult it is to get into. Xate, I don't know if this is genuinely true. I sold Tricarion Collector's Edition because I had trouble lifting it.
We brought a copy of the Suburbia Deluxe thing back from Essen last year, I think, for somebody, and we haven't posted it because he's not here. He's in Sheffield, and we haven't managed to deliver it yet. We haven't posted it because it's just too heavy to post. It's ridiculously heavy.
Oh my word!
I think that's the thing. If it's new to you, then the pun is obvious. But yeah, maybe we just like dad jokes here. I don't know.
Get dad jokes.
Granddad jokes.
Two of us are parents already.
Granddad joke. Granddad jokes for me.
Yeah, Emily.
Jess is our dad now.
Jess is our dad now. So just so
Says Xate.
So, yeah, Handycon apparently has the heaviest game competition each year based on physical weight. And getting back to the notion of games being brilliant, Alex says that in some ways board games give you a sense of agency. Your actions have an effect and you have control within the context of the game. And yeah, this is a lovely thing. And maybe in this day and age where we're not feeling much empowerment, it's like, okay, at least we get to control this one thing. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, and on that theme, that's kind of part of the reason I find games brilliant, particularly board games. Actually, stretch it to role-play games, any kind of game. As an autistic, it gives me a nice, safe environment to interact with friends, and we're all learning the rules. It's not, unless someone's like has written them, but the you're kind of in a safe environment. I mean, as much as I don't like where some of the team have gone, games like party games like Cards Against Humanities, which I wouldn't call a board game, I got closer to a lot of friends through that game. So board games are brilliant for, it's not just about social interactions, it's about safe environments with licensed rules. So for me, that's why they're brilliant. And I've known a lot of other fellow autistics who've said similar things. It's kind of like a break into social settings.
Yeah, I think, as Alan said, that's such a common thing, that it brings people together, and that is the lovely... Sorry, I'm just chuckling at I saw Jess's thing. And
I'm not grounded. You can't make me. I'll go to my room. Wait,
you're not my real mum.
Like, I think that board games are great because, yes, we've got like sharing of worlds, we've got like all this shared moments with other people and exploring what's possible. I think for me, sometimes one thing that I like about board games is that you know what you're getting, that it's like a safe environment, and there's something lovely about that safety. I mean, there's a million reasons that we could talk about. We could talk about why board games are amazing, and probably should do it, like, given that I've got a daily stream and I do it every single day at 10 a.m. for, I mean, everyone who's tuning in today should know that at this point. Like, this is the 169th, 170th day if you include the one day that I took off to talk at UK Games Expo at 10 a.m. But it's like, board games are just such a wonderful thing, because if you're feeling, whoa, this world is too much, I don't know what's going on, or maybe you don't want to talk about politics, or maybe you don't want to talk about these particular things, for a moment you can divert the conversation into another form, but still have that meaningful interaction. So it's kind of like, hey, if you want to have a conversation, but facilitate a conversation about lighter things, let's play Wavelength for a bit. And that was such a magical thing. Or if you want to think cerebrally, but you don't want to attack a problem that you've been working on for weeks or whatever, maybe I want to take a break from working out the logistics of that, or the house management or whatever, and I want to just spend a bit of time, you know, moving things around in corridor, then I'm doing that. And it's a kind of that mixture of escapism, but safety and knowledge, and knowing those rules for me is like a warm cocoon. And so, yeah, that's why I think that board games are brilliant. So that is the brilliant thing. I think that's the longest we've ever had, but board games are pretty special. I think that's what we've all agreed.
Yeah, I go with that.
And so, yeah, well done, and yay for board games.
Yeah, I mean, not sparking debate, but what would you class as a board game?
Well, yeah, I was wondering whether we wanted to differentiate between board games and other games, but I don't know. Perhaps we don't.
Nah, that's a whole topic. Like, what's this?
A whole horrible topic. We don't want to go there. Classification. Sounds like work. I used to be an information manager, which is all about how you classify things, and really,
that sounds like fun to me. That's basically my thesis for a particular topic. That sounds like fun.
It is fun in its place. Yeah.
Now let's quickly go to recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. So what have other people been joining? This time we'll go in clockwise order, starting with Jason. I have personally had a little bit of a walk. I did do a bit of exercise to Moby's flower yesterday, which I'm quite proud of. Just, getting showered in the morning. That's, you need to take delight in these little things. The fact that I've got hot water working. And for today, that's going to be my recent highlight. Just having a hot shower at a reasonable temperature. Yeah. Jason.
Oh, recent highlight. I've got a couple. First, I bought a new car. My husband and I bought a new car after the last one was slowly dying, which is great. It works. It's got warm seats, which is perfect for the winter. But I suppose actually to top that, today I bumped into a friend I haven't seen in person for a year when I went to Asda to go pick up snacks. Just this morning, about an hour ago now. We had a little natter. I was very nearly late for joining because of it. But, that's the best friends are when you can natter and not know what the time is. So, yeah.
That sounds lovely. Just having a lovely conversation with a few other folk.
It was an anniversary today, actually, because the last time we saw each other, we went to go see the Downton Abbey movie in the cinema.
Wow. Well, Emily, do you have anything that you would like to share?
Yesterday morning I got up earlier than normal and I made cookies. So I've been enjoying munching on those since. I think there are only like 2 left now.
Oh, so where's ours?
Yeah, in my stomach and Lewis's. And yesterday I made some really good progress on an art list for the RPG book that we're working on. So it's all starting to come together, and I feel glad that I've finally made a dent in that, because it was a big old scary spreadsheet before, and now it's a slightly smaller scary spreadsheet.
Well, you might be able to get Alex to take on your spreadsheets. I mean, it sounds like maybe you could hire Alex as some sort of employee if there are spreadsheets inclined. Chris.
Yeah, so I recently made a game for the Game Crafters contest, which is basically going to be a big community anthology in a large coil sort of book. And at first I was kind of stuck, because this contest has you make a game that is 2 pages, a left side and a right side, along with a fairly small set of components. No cards whatsoever in this game. So the question is always, how do you make a game without cards? I've never done that before. And then, of course, you also want to make something that kind of brings out the uniqueness of this thing. Like this big coil-bound book is going to have a thing. So my concept right now is called Ride the Rapids. It's basically a dexterity flicking game. So you're flicking your pieces on one side of the book from behind a line over the coil onto the other side, where you're trying to get your pieces to land on the other side. So the coil is going to add a lot of unpredictability to this dexterity part. It's not just like flicking pieces off across a page shuffleboard style. The coil can add its own sort of unpredictable randomness to it. So really looking forward to testing it out and seeing what happens.
That sounds like quite an out there game. That sounds like pretty cool. Nice.
Yeah.
And of course, a quick hello to Andrew January. Where's Andrew January? Oh, I thought it's Andrew January. There we go. Sorry. Struggle to say hello, Andrew January. It's lovely to see you. And yeah, we've got, of course, everyone in chat is welcome to share their recent highlights. Dave says that this morning, Rockpool, which had already won the Right Start Awards last week, they won Imagination Gaming's seal of approval. So yay! Congratulations, Dave. And yeah, Alan, is there anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, 3 things very briefly. Firstly, it was getting a bit cold, so we've now switched to our winter duvet. And actually, that's really nice. The first time you switch to your winter duvet and it's really, really warm, I find that just so satisfying. Anyway, that was one.
It's fluffy. So
It's
fluffy.
really nice. Secondly, did you know that tomorrow is the anniversary of the Battle of Waterloo? So that means that yesterday was the anniversary of my favourite Napoleonic battle, which is the Battle of Quatre Bras in 1815. Well, I usually play a Waterloo game at this point, but I haven't actually done it yet, so I'll have to probably do that tomorrow or later today. And finally, games related here. We've had a really, really good 3-player game of Kingmaker on Thursday, playtest. Very, very exciting game. It's really nice. It's working really well. So I'm very pleased with that because I've always been a bit wary of the Kingmaker redevelopment that I'm doing. Will it actually work? Which is always the question. And it seems to be going well. So I'm very pleased. If it wasn't going well, I'd be in real trouble by now.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to kind of chat about that, but I know that you'll be back on Tuesday. So
We don't.
and there's some people who don't come on quite as often, but yeah, definitely want to talk about that on one of our forthcoming Tuesdays.
Yep.
So yeah, that's been a lovely thing, and I would also like to share that I have been doing a lot of eating because we're defrosting the freezer, and the plug is really badly placed, so we can't unplug or switch off the freezer. We need to do it from the fuse box, basically. So we're going to turn off the fridge at the same time. So yeah, basically I had Chris and McCall over on, well, actually it was just McCall over on Thursday, and then I made a bunch of stew and it was too much, and then like I normally just put it in the freezer, it's all good. Like have like 4, 6, however many portions in the freezer, it's brilliant. And so like I've been eating a lot of that. Everyone else in the house has been eating a lot of it. Thankfully, you know, they like it, so it's all good. Just I do feel today, okay, I feel really stuffed, even though I haven't actually had anything this morning. So yeah, that is us, and let's move to the questionably quick questions. Let me ask you, where exactly in the world are you, and what time is it? Let's just say, put your hands up if it's 10:27 right now, and you're living in the UK.
It's 10:28.
Very good. And all those people are living in the UK, so I'll just get that off so we can see names. And Chris, where exactly are you?
I'm on the 8th floor of an apartment building in central Warsaw, Poland. Last I checked, the planet was Earth, and there was I think it's the Milky Way galaxy. I think there's a name for the cluster. It's called, but yeah, 8th floor apartment building. It is 11:28 a.m. here, so just an hour ahead of you.
It's Aquasula says the 3 words thing. You've got to remind me what this means. So let me ask you quick questions, and I'll just go around. What's your first memory, Alan? Oh, I think your headset is muted.
Sorry. Yes, I was. I think one of my first memories was burning my hand on a cooker. That really hurt. I did the classic thing. I wonder if that's hot. Oh yes, it is hot. You know. Sorry,
Chris.
Going to Sunday school and reciting the books of the Bible in order when I was like maybe 5 or 6.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was a smart kid. I don't know what happened as an adult.
Emily.
I'm really struggling to think of what my first one is, but the one that comes to mind is when my little younger sibling was born and they came home and I laid in bed with them and cuddled them. I was like 6 or 7 at the time.
Oh, that is super lovely. Jason.
Yeah, mine's not as sweet as that. The earliest one I can remember, this is a frequent summer activity, is I'd go to the seafront and control the waves with my voice. Like I would sing at them to control them.
That's nice.
I was a weird child.
We call him the water whisperer.
There was no whispering about it. And no wonder no one was surprised that I went down the experimental music route, screaming at waves.
Is this the follow-up to the man yells at clouds meme, or is it something else?
No.
It makes me think of the Poseidon vine where the guy's buried in the sand. It's so good. You should look it up.
Hello, Milos. It's lovely to have you. And
I've set the level for the stream now. Milos has just joined.
So let's go round talking about your. Oh, I didn't say my first memory. My first memory is of a Spectrum loading screen, where you might want to reduce the volume quickly, where it goes. Like an old modem. You remember that? Where it loaded all the code from the tape, and then maybe if you were lucky it would load correctly, and you would get to game or whatever you were trying to play. Let's go with quick round of full names, because I realise that we don't have them. So my legal name, which I'm willing to share, is Behruz Shahriori, but since I was at school, I've been called Bez, and so that's why, on the box I like to be called Behruz Bez Shahriori.
That seems fair.
Alan?
My full name is Alan Eric Paull.
Ooh.
So
a triple first namer.
Yes, kind of, yeah. The Eric is not a family. It's not something that was in my family. I don't know why my parents chose Eric. It's a bit one of those random things. I don't know.
Did you ever get called Eric? Or
no? It's always Alan or Al or something. When it was polite, yes. And I was at school with in my class at primary school there was a boy called Paul Allen. So that's not confusing at all.
Oh boy.
Good start. Yeah.
Christopher Scott Backe. And no one calls me Christopher except my mother.
I don't know why. You're in trouble, right?
Let's not make this. Let's not start now. I'd rather like Chris as a simple, succinct way of garnering attention. But thank you for
Like, do they ever say it's when you're in trouble? Christopher Scott Backe.
It was never a full name sort of thing. It was just my mother go, Christopher. Oh boy. Yeah, sometimes you knew you were in trouble when the full name came out.
My full name is Emily Brown Shaw. I took Brown, my maiden name, as my middle name when I got married to Lewis.
It's kind of a way of keeping your old identity as well as
yeah, I didn't want to get rid of it, and I didn't want to double barrel it, so middle name.
We had a similar thing when my husband and I got married. We didn't know whether to take his actual legal name or the name he went under, and when we double barreled them, it's either of them. So it sounded like a law firm, right? So my full name is Jason Joseph Bryce Hodgson, and until I was 15, I thought my third name Bryce was spelt with an I, till we found my birth certificate again, and it's actually spelt with a Y. So I had to get all my GCSEs changed because I complained to them that it was incorrectly spelt when it was originally correctly spelt.
Oh no.
All this time I was saying, well, that's what happens when you live with a dyslexic grandmother, because we convinced ourselves that it was incorrect.
So you are the classic. You are the classic person who cannot even spell their own name.
I've had some strange spellings of my name. Someone tried to spell it with a Y, someone with a double N, some with an E. So I've decided if ever I was to change my name, it wouldn't be changing my name, it would be changing the spelling. And I'm not sure what they're called, but it's J, the AE thing that's like a Damon, SONNE, and that I'm thinking I'm going to change. I think that's going to be my celebration once I get my PhD. That's how it's going to be spelt legally. But I'll keep this spelling for my website because no way I'm having that people try to type that.
Having two Christian names is always a problem because I get ALLEN and PAUL all the time. Mind you, Charlie, my wife, has it even worse because her name is Charlie Paull, so she gets genders wrong as well. So people always think of her as being.
Oh yeah, I've heard the story about Charlie being attributed as Charles Paul.
That's right. Yeah, that was a good one.
Because he just assumes that it's a man, and he assumes that, oh, we can't have diminutive names here. Ridiculous.
Yeah, never diminutive, never shorten my name. I hate being called Jace. No, Zate, I can see you right now. I can feel you through the screen. You are not calling me Jace. Ever.
What, Jay?
I think
it's not
a
great.
good question
But...
I mean, to be fair, it's 2 syllables. It's not that long. But I had an ex. Well, I have an ex. I had a partner who is now an ex. And that's the way that these things work. But anyway, so my ex told me that Bez was too long. He said, do you mind if I shorten Bez to Be? And so while we went out, they would call me Be.
Right, that's just that just sounds like meh.
Yeah. It sounds a bit like a sigh. Like
So who's your partner? Bear.
That's not a good basis for a relationship, I feel.
It's really confusing when the term "bae" was out, BAE. It'd be even more confusing with that, because they can sound really similar if you only hear it like half.
I call my husband Bay just to irritate him occasionally.
I mean, there's so much that goes into a name, so many connotations, so many assumptions. But
I can irritate my wife by calling her Charlotte, which is her actual name.
I mean, now you've just granted us the whole Rumpelstiltskin power. I mean,
that's true.
But let's talk about what brought you to board games in your memory. Just in a quick minute or two, how did you get to where you are now? How did you decide to start playing, start designing, start publishing, start demonstrating board games? And let's start with Jason.
Actually, I wasn't a huge gamer at all until 2016. When I got asked to volunteer as a cosplayer on the door, as part of what was then Thanet's cosplay from a lady called VJ, and I think that's where I met Bez. Yeah, that was the first time I met Bez. So I kind of played with her games, and then I remember having UKGE, and then Bez was looking for volunteers. I volunteered, so it was Bez that got me into the deep dive of working behind the scenes now, and now I'm running to-do lists for Bez, and then I created games for musicians now, game-based competitions, and use other games in competitions. So yeah, it was essentially a mixture of VJ that set up the situation and Bez who pushed the button.
Nice.
Well, I'm very honoured to have been the person who brought you into the fold, so to speak. And
the word is not fold; it's cult. Any geek thing I've decided is a cult. Okay. If you're Whovian, you're part of a cult. If you're a gamer, you're part of a cult. You can never escape.
if you're playing Farscape, that's definitely a cult.
Oh yeah.
So, there's someone rattling plastic. Is that you, Jason?
Sorry, that's me. I'm trying to not advertise.
And so, for those who don't know, Jason has been working, as they said, been a lovely person, demonstrating games at UK Games Expo, Dragon Meet, Essen last year. It was lovely to have them around. And
it was tiring. Word of advice: don't do a me and wear heels for 14 hours straight. I do it because I look good in them, not because I enjoy the pain afterwards.
Yeah, a major convention is not the place to break in new shoes either. I can tell you that one from personal experience.
Oh no. Unless
Emily,
they're trainers. Trainers are easy to break in.
I'd at least wear them for a day or two around the house first.
Yeah.
Emily, how did you get to know board games, and how did you come to be half a publisher?
Well, I played some classic board games with my parents growing up, like Scrabble, Pass the Pigs, Uno, things like that. And then when I moved to Southampton, I got a job at a really awful call center, but I made a really good friend. Well, I made two friends. And one of them, Sam, was really into board games. So he introduced me to Takenoko, Betrayal at House on the Hill, Coup, things like that. And then before I knew it, Lewis was designing board games, and then we published Downsize. And then from there, it's just kind of grown and grown and grown. But yeah, most of it was Sam. Yeah.
So do you feel like it's just been a crazy whirlwind?
Oh yeah. If I'd have asked myself 2015, 2016, what I thought I was going to be doing with my life, this wasn't what I pictured. Yeah, no,
I still haven't
not.
decided.
That's a secret. No one really knows what they're doing. We're just making it up.
Yeah, it's like you're making it up as you go along, and there's a certain joy in that. I mean, I know Jason knows all about that with semi-improvised music and stuff, and just the joy of conversations. What's our conversations if not just making it up as you go along? And most dancing, when you go into a hall, and oh gosh, I miss dancing, but kind of it's that pressure on the hand, thinking, okay, at this moment, okay, an exhibitor would be a nice thing to just break it out. Okay, now we're great, and having this lovely thing. Yeah, we are all just making up life in general.
I mean, it's just one of those things as adults. Like, you start kind of making things up when you're in middle school and you realize the teacher's calling on you for an answer. And then you get to college and you realize the stakes are a little bit higher now because this paper's worth, 20% of your final grade in the class. And then you get to the boss and they want a presentation on something you've never studied in 5 minutes. Everything in life is about making things up for other people.
Yeah, my teacher stopped asking me to answer the questions because I would deliberately rattle on and go on tangents so that I'd never get asked again. I knew the answer, I just went on because I don't like being asked. Even when my hand was down, they still picked on me. It's like, they would know. It's like, no.
Chris, how did you enter this crazy world?
So, I remember making my first board game when I was 12. It was pony beads and a piece of cardboard. It was called Armies and Legions. It was taken off of Risk at the time. We played a lot of Monopoly and Sorry growing up. And as one of those sort of creative people, it was a thing that I kind of did and went, okay, that's cool, and then put it away. Didn't think about it anymore. Occasionally you make another game or two here and there, as just a creative person does. I got turned on to Tabletop, the Will Wheaton YouTube show. And from that show, really began to explore and understand the modern world of board games circa 2014, 2015. And began going, hang on, I've got some ideas for games. I could do something like that as well. So the like just watching the 4 seasons of the show, and that got me inspired enough to go, okay, let's try to do something more serious with board games instead of just creating it, maybe playing it with a partner or a wife or whatnot. Let's take a game to a friendly local game store, like I'm hearing people are doing, and yeah, that was late 2016 in Florida, and the response I got was really kind and really good. I keep basically I went in with just a game that was foam board and hand drawn lines on permanent markers, and I'm like, well, I don't know if you guys want to play test something, but I do have, and they're like, oh, you have something to play test? Can we see? Can we see? And I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? You guys have like 100 games on the shelf here we could be playing. Why do you want to play my game? I'm sure I'm fine with that. But so we played. They had some great suggestions. There were some things they liked. There were some things to fix. And I said, well, I can bring a new version by next week, same time, same place, if you guys will be here. I'm like, oh, absolutely, we'll be here. So that was 2016, and it's been very much just that sort of onward, upward sort of path.
And I think that it kind of makes sense that people are excited to play your thing because they know you, and it's like, okay, this has come from a mind that we know, and it's another way to connect. I mean, I'm more interested in seeing Muckell's paintings than I would be in seeing the paintings of a person that I've never met, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because you want to learn more about the people that you're with, and when you've already got sorts of that connection. And Tom says that your story resonates with them. So hi Tom, this is Tom Cauldron, for those who don't know, designer of Categorical, and will be joining us for quite a bit today. Childhood games will Wheaton gradually opening up to wonderful possibilities of modern games.
Definitely.
So, Alan, how did you get into this? This must have been a while back.
It was too long ago to remember, Bez, really. No, well, I already mentioned it earlier, but I mean, I always thought that my origin story was the classic one. But then again, 50 years ago, we had no internet. We had no computer games, which people often get into before they get into board games. So, I mean, the game that actually kind of encouraged me to look at designing games was a game called Formula One, which some of you might have heard of. It was a race. Obviously, it's a racing car game produced by Waddingtons, and we had that. It was we had a there were 5 members of our family. We had the typical family Christmas where you get around together and play board games, and that was the only time I could guarantee to get my family to play board games, because that was the tradition. You have to. So it might have been Monopoly, but people didn't like playing Monopoly for some reason. So Formula One. The reason Formula One was the one that I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, I can design things really, was because it's a race game, and you move your little plastic cars around, and it's kind of it's not roll and move. It's you decide on a speed you're going to do with a little cardboard thing with your speed indicated, and the speed you do is the number of spaces you go, and the inside track is shorter than the outside track, so it's all about positioning on the tracks. But the clever things which were things which I recognize as being what innovative mechanism that you could actually do other things with, was if you want to reduce your speed, you have to use brakes and tire wear, and you have special gauges for your brakes and tires. So the game is all about, can I last the race by using my brakes and tire wear carefully enough? Can I actually manage that while still going really fast? And then the lovely little thing it has is you get cards in hand. You only relatively few, like 2 or 3. I can't remember the mechanism for that. And there's the superb driving card. If you play superb driving, you can go around any corner at any speed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you get one of those, it's not just using it, it's knowing when to use it that's important. So the player decision isn't, oh, I've got a superb driving card, therefore I'm going to win. It's, can you maximize the usage of that card? And then I thought, well, there's a lot. This is a different. This isn't just rolling some dice and moving some stuff, which is the classic old family game type of style. This has got some quite thinky things in it, and that's what got me into thinking about maybe I can do board games and invent some new mechanisms and things like that. So, but that's what got me into it.
So once you were making all these games, I mean, you've been at it for, I was going to say you've been at it for decades, but you've been at Surprise Terror for decades. And
yes,
obviously, there have been streams with Just Alan on, which I think you're one of my most prevalent guests, just because, I think you were my first fortnightly guest, and then we were joined by Colvin Wong Saloon and some other people. But just give us a very brief rundown of that first time at Essen, Richard and Sony and everything.
Well, I mean, I got into Magic the Gathering like a lot of people did back in the day. And when playing that, I met up with Tony Boydell. We used to play Magic in Cheltenham. We both, at that point, we both lived in Cheltenham. Now he lives in Newent and I live over in Huntingdonshire. So we're miles apart now. But then we were within spitting distance and we used to play Magic. And Tony had a little card game that he was designing called Copper Twaddle. So he was designing stuff, and I said, well, I've designed some stuff as well in the past, because I'd stopped designing for quite a while, was playing Magic a lot. And since we both were interested in the game design stuff, we decided to start a company, which was Surprise Terror Games, which was basically intended to be a vehicle for us to design and then sell our designs to other companies. And we'd heard of Essen. So way back, I think it was 2000 and, well, we started the company in 1999, but I think it was about 2001, I think we first went to Essen, something like that. And we we made all the classic newbie Essen mistakes when you started as a publisher. Firstly, we didn't go first as punters. We went first as publishers.
Oh boy!
So we read, I know, bad. And so we read all the books about how we read all the articles about how you're supposed to do it and all the restrictions. So you're supposed to have a floor covering and coverings on the walls and make it look all plush. And so we spent quite a lot of our relatively limited amount of money on setting up a proper stand, and we made it look medieval, because Copper Twaddle was going to be our first game. It's a medieval style card game. So we had bits of medieval armor, and we had some medieval pictures and a nice green grass like covering on the floor, and the whole bit. We only had the basic small stand, the 5 meter frontage stand. So we plonked ourselves down first time, and all the customers just walked past, didn't look at it at all, and they just walked past because they didn't know us from Adam. And we were terrible at marketing, but we happened to be next to another stand. And this other stand, it had one guy in it, and he arrived early on Thursday morning. He arrived, bare stand. He put some wallpaper paste on the walls because you had to line your stand, and he stuck up some wallpaper lining paper, and he wrote on it in a marker pen. He wrote R&D Games on it, and he brought in loads of boxes, and there was loads of boxes, and he got out a game, and he started selling. People were queuing around the block for this. In fact, they were queuing in front of our stand and ignoring our stand to get this game. And this was Richard Breeze with Cathedral, and he was like selling like hotcakes and we thought, hello, what's going on here? So well, we struck up a really good friendship with Richard. He basically told us how to do it properly. both in terms of game design and in terms of how to run Essen stands. So we learned that really you have to tell people about your games in advance. This was obviously way before Kickstarters or internet or anything really, or the prevalence.
Who would have thought?
Pardon?
Who would have thought
telling people about your games is quite a good idea? Well, you see, we thought that with Essen, because you're getting 100,000 people, even then I think it might have been under 100,000, but it's certainly a lot. We thought that, well, people will find out about your games because they'll go past the stands. They'll visit all the stands, you see. No, not really. No, knowing in advance, they'll actually choose to go to your stand. And so, so 20 years later, can't even go to Essen. Disappointing.
Would it?
But now we have
first year.
This would have been our. Well, this is actually our 20th anniversary year, so we actually bought some printed some 20th anniversary cotton bags, which we've got stashed away for the 20th anniversary year. Which
I thought you were giving them away last year.
We were giving them away. We were giving them away last year. Well, yes, technically.
Well, you were giving them away with purchases
last year
above a certain amount.
Technically, because we started in November 1999. Technically, we started then. So 2019 was technically our last year. Well, I'm counting it as the whole year from November 2019 to November 2020. You see, get the most out of it. But yeah, so but it's taken us 20 years to get to this stage. We are profitable company, and we do 2 or 3 games a year now. So yes, it's only taken us 20 years to get to that stage. But then, to be fair, we are what I would call a hobby games company in the sense that we make and sell hobby games, but for us as publishers, we're not making a living out of this. Well, I'm now retired, so I can spend more time on it. So I'm now retired. We never wanted to take the risk of making this a full-time company because we've seen what happens to quite a lot of other people who've tried to do that. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from doing it, but we decided that because Tony and I, we both had families and we didn't want to risk our money, basically, our livelihood on that.
Talking
about
that's where
we came from,
how different things are, and I think it's interesting you mentioned like your desire for making games. Like for me, it's basically turned into a full-time job thanks to Yogi, essentially. Thanks to In a Bind being, I believe parts of it is down to the quality of the game, but a large part is down to the connections and a bit of luck and the distribution that someone's able to make. And it's not like mass market or anything like that, but it's about to go to WH Smith hopefully anytime soon, so that'll be
nice.
A big deal for me.
And
yeah, we'll see. And Martin Wallace on, when was that, Thursday I want to say, was kind of after the show talking to me about how they're really trying to make money and like ways that they do that, and hopefully having them on in another couple of months to kind of chat to them about focusing on that aspect, because he said, yeah, sometimes it does sound mercenary, but you've got to be like, okay, this thing I'm doing, this is for the purpose of making money. And then sometimes saying, okay, this other thing that I'm doing, it's not for the purpose of making money. That's a really nice thing to be able to do. Like, frankly, it gets into motivations. And so, yeah, how do you, like, what's your relationship with board games right now? You've kind of gotten into that already, Alan. So let's work. The flipping makes. I'm still more used to mirrors than I am used to StreamYard. So like, if we go round, Alan, you've already talked about everything. So Chris, what's your relationship with game design and making games a reality right now?
I think my relationship with games right now is trying to balance time between actually making games and also to some extent play testing games along with pitching games. For most of the last months, I've helped to run the virtual playtesting group, which has taken up 2 nights a week, and along with some admin time that just comes from running a group and keeping everything up to date. So I've spent a lot of time kind of getting the playtesting thing up to snuff. So I've spent a lot of time making games and playtesting games, and now I'm kind of trying to switch the brain into pitching mode, which usually would have started a couple of months ago, because gearing up for Essen, getting pitch videos ready, getting sell sheets ready, things like that. But my relationship is one of continual development. I guess is one way to put it.
And Emily, what's your relationship with board games? I mean, you're half of a publisher. How would you describe your current relationship?
I think mine's probably a bit different because I don't actually develop I haven't really developed a game myself. I've had ideas, but I haven't quite. I'm very scared of taking that step into like actually making it a reality. But Lewis and I are working on a couple of ideas that we've got between us. But usually at the moment, I'm more focused on, I might do some playtesting. I might talk like big ideas with regards to our games with Lewis, but I'm more focused on like marketing. I'm doing project management for 2 RPGs at the moment. So yeah, I definitely have more of a stand. I'm further back from the development than Lewis is, and then you guys are, because I just am not as involved in the whole development side of things.
But of course, you've not talked about the logistics and all the management that you do.
Yeah, all of that stuff as well. Yeah.
Which I think it's easy to say, oh yeah, don't do anything, but
Yeah,
you do a lot.
It is very easy to brush all that stuff off, and then you add in the fact that we're having to look after a baby at the same time, and it's like, oh okay, yeah, this is why I'm so tired at the end of every day.
Awesome. That's awesome. Doing it while you've got a baby, that's...
Yeah, it's a bit hardcore.
And Jason, what's your relationship with games?
Complicated. Mainly because I struggle with learning games. I find the knowledge of rules at the start quite difficult to get. It takes quite slow at picking them up. I enjoy them very much so, but I don't have the time as I would like to. What we're doing a PhD. On the other hand, I do like exploiting them for all their worth if I can for my work, and I've somehow managed to both get paid for it and have it filter into my career. So, without being a game designer, so it's very complicated.
Yeah, I've already. I guess I'm a complicator, and yeah, as I said, it's basically one game plus a bit of development, and King's College London now owes me money because I think it's now public that sadly, I'm actually really bummed that Sarah Jury and I made this amazing LARP. It was for like 30, 40 people, and we ran 2 playtests that went brilliantly. And then the final LARP, it's never going to run. Sarah's kind of apparently were still getting paid, but we need to kind of go through a bit of Sarah did have to go through a bit of legwork for that, but Dave, that's been good. So well done, King's College London. They've at least paid us, because we do a lot of work, even though we didn't run the final day. We did do all the prep, but I don't know what's going to happen to that. I mean, it's basically they're not going to reopen this. It was meant to be a whole exhibition about bodies and identities and gender, and we had a LARP which was all about the ramifications of legal gender identity and how people are kind of acknowledged by the state. And so it was like people divided themselves. It was almost like a mega game. People divided themselves into little countries. Each country had different kinds of state policies, and then people would change them. And Henry, I'm not here to talk about this LARP that I made. I probably should devote like just another day to that and like ask Sarah. And like Sarah made sure that we've still got ownership over our own thing, but whilst at this point that's just been completely cancelled. For a while it was delayed, and now it's officially cancelled, which is just sad. Yeah, maybe it'll be something that we get to take to some other LARP festival. And thank you very much for the sympathies, Alex. But that's my basic relationship, that I'm getting royalties from one game. My self-published games, I consider them more as a hobby / a birthing ground for things that might, go to other companies. I mean, I've had offers for a game wherein you blether, a Scottish word. I'm not going to say the full length.
We haven't got the time.
I'm sorry, but I've got offers for it, but like then they wouldn't like publish, this game which has nothing but words on the box. They wouldn't have pictures on the cards, which to me, like, I feel like I would, yeah. And yeah, the smoke, this 2021 has been cancelled. We'll see what happens for 2022. But yeah, anyway, that is that. I think, Dave, did you attend one of the playtests? I can't quite remember. But anyway, so that is my relationship. Now let's get onto the main topic, because this is the longest intro we've ever had. But honestly, this whole thing is just meant to be an intro to these people, and hopefully kind of my idea here. I want to say, feel free to comment, ask questions, like, follow, all that stuff. I need to work out how to change my YouTube link. Now that yesterday I asked people to help me out, and went from 92 followers to 110 now. So I need to work out how to change my thing so I get a proper YouTube URL, but I didn't quite manage to work it out.
It's in an hour of.
Pardon?
It's in the settings. It's like
I'm sure it's somewhere,
things.
but I just couldn't work it out in an hour of trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so thank you very much. Apparently, this is not the longest intro. Oh yeah, maybe with Martin Wallace, that was really long as well. Martin can talk. Anyway, oh yeah, we mentioned you, Alan. Just in briefly, I said, "Oh yeah, Alan's coming on," and Martin, "Oh yeah, Alan's a good person." So that's what I kind of want to say. Like, we're going to talk about How Much Money by Chris Backe, Ming Voyages by Alan Paull, Coup for You by Isaac Shalev, and a bit of development from me. Dead and Breakfast by Rodrigo, but published by Braincrack Games. Nano Muckell by me. And I wanted to say, like, what's happening? Why these games? Why these people? What's going on? And I would like to, if I may, take a step back and take the main stage and just say the reason why I did this. The reason that I did this, I explained it to Chris quite a while back. I talked about it to Jason, and then I invited Alan and Emily and Chris. And I think for me, I was inspired by a couple of things. Firstly, being sad that I can't play games with friends as often as I would like. Secondly, City of Games. I don't know if any of you went to this thing in Bristol. So this was run by Frank West. It was a small convention. There were maybe 200 people there. I can't remember. It was 200 or 400. There was a clear maximum. And Frank reached the maximum both years. And in the third year said, you know what? This is too oversubscribed. I'm not going to do it, because it was no longer what Frank wanted. And Frank didn't want to have to turn people away, basically, and make people sad. Anyway, so like, while I was there was a lot going on. There was like a big games library, but in terms of the exhibitors, this was very carefully curated. Frank had invited myself. Alex says it definitely wasn't 300. Are you saying that it might have been 200? But anyway, Frank invited myself and Paul Grogan and one shop and ITB for the first one. And for the second one, I think Frank invited myself, Paul Grogan, a local shop, and some friends. James, it's a close friend of Frank who was basically working on this prototype. And that's the thing, like Frank was like, okay, I know you. I know you're going to put on a good show. I know that your games, if I invite you, you're going to add to this. And I'm not going to charge you to be part of this. That's not the way that this works. You know, just come over and you're adding value to me. And it was like a lovely thing where it's like, come in, because Bez always runs a 2 p.m. event. Bez always does this thing. And look, I'm not running a 2 p.m. event during this show, although parts of me thought about it, but like, it's such a different thing that you can't capture that energy digitally. Do you know what I mean? I can't capture the energy of having 3 tables playing Kitty Cataclysm and then dividing into one table whilst everyone stares on and watches, and like people are stealing from each other, or like that energy whilst people are playing Yogi. How could you capture Yogi online? I mean, yes, we played in a Bond or Yogi Stock Guru, but it's a bit different, isn't it? And so it was like, okay, let's curate this. That's the first step. I want to have like 4, maybe 5 people, like a very small number of games. And I want to make sure that it's more focused on people coming together, making friends, and learning games from someone who had something to do with them. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of my intentions. Is there anything you would like to add to that, Jason?
No, I think you've covered it all. Yeah, I think the emphasis is to have fun. Yes, you've got VIPs here. Yes, we're sharing our games, and of course, we'd like you to follow us all over Twitter and other social medias and buy the games. Please buy the games. But if you're not having fun, we've done something wrong, and I don't think that's going to be possible, because I think we're all going to have fun.
Fingers crossed.
Look, put it this way: on events like these run by Bez, I've been in physical pain. Not her fault, but I've been in physical pain and still having fun, like Yogi Stock Guru, for example. So, yeah.
I feel bad now.
No, don't. I volunteered. It was well within my right to stop, and I could have dropped it all, but I was stubborn, and I won.
Let's go in approximate chronological order. Chris, I invited you first. Why are you here?
Well, I love playing games. I love showing this particular game because it's a great icebreaker. On some level, I also just enjoy meeting a lot of cool people. It's always nice to do this within the Discord groups where you get to playtest stuff, but doing a game on video definitely adds more of a sense of connection to it. So, and you know, I like you, Bez.
One would hope.
Same question to Emily. And yeah, Emily.
Yeah, I think, I really enjoy, Lewis and I both really enjoy coming on stream with you. We always have fun. And it's a great, we haven't done a convention this year. Normally we do 2, maybe 3 a year. And it's really strange to not have that, because I really miss that buzz of like sharing games with people. And I haven't seen people that usually I see like at least annually that I've just not been able to catch up with, especially this year. It's a huge bummer, really, because a lot of our close friends are in this industry. And it's a great opportunity to show off Dead and Breakfast, and it's a great time of year for it as well, because it's nearly Halloween. Who doesn't love a good spooky tile layer game, you know? It's really fun. So yeah, I'm just hoping we're going to have fun, and hopefully people will like the game, but if you don't, that's okay.
And yeah, there's going to be some people like James who joined the chats, I think, that are probably going to stick to the lighter stuff like How Much Money or Nano Muckell, but Coup for You. But then there's Xate, who might try to not play any Coup for you or Nano Muckell at all. And so, we'll have these games going on, but yeah, hopefully outside of the time as well. But Alan, why did you agree to join me?
Frankly, Bez, you're our third choice of convention. But but the other two are Essen and Expo, so that's pretty high up. Well, I do like having these sessions. I have not done much of this live streaming stuff at all. I mean, yes, I've been on your show quite a few times, but one of the problems you've had with Surprise Dare is marketing. We're just rubbish at marketing. We haven't got any marketing specialisms, and so we're learning all the time. And now that I'm retired and more or less full time doing this, I'm just learning more about how to do this crazy video stuff, really. And doing more of it. It's just getting more and more experience. And the Ming Voyages, well, it's because Dave and I had so much fun designing this, and it was our first Kickstarter earlier this year. So it seemed like the obvious thing to do. Well, this is twinned with the March of Progress, which one I designed on my own. But frankly, the Ming Voyages is probably slightly more popular than the March of Progress. So this seemed like the obvious one. And it's an opportunity to get people engaged in this more. And that's it, really. And meeting all these people. I don't think we've spoken before, I think, a lot of us. But having a whole day with everybody here is great. It's good fun.
And yeah, it's funny because it's just going to be the way of the world, that there is so much happening every single weekend. And I think more and more, any weekend that you pick, there's going to probably be more people doing other things and other people doing other things. So I do want to say thank you to everyone who's going to join us. Let's talk a little bit about what it is. Like, basically, we're going to be coming back here at 12:30 to let's go through the games quickly. We're going to come back here 12:30 and talk a little bit about how much money. Give us the 1 minute pitch, Chris.
Sure. So How Much Money is a party game for teens and adults. In this game, there's really no story here. This is a classic get-to-know-you game where the question is always, how much money would it take to get you to do something crazy? So as you're seeing on the screen right now, you'll get a card, and in the real-world version of this, you'd call top, middle, or bottom for drawing a card. So then you would read the stunt out loud. For example, in the top middle there, it says, go 1 month without coffee or tea. So that person is the daredevil, and the question is always, how much money would it take to get them to do this stunt? That you can define your own terms. Des, what's the term that you've used for this?
I can't remember.
You've used a really cool term that I'm going to be using. But the idea is that you define your own terms, exactly how this will be done. Other players can ask yes or no questions relating to blah. What am I trying to say? So you have questions that yes or no answers, and then everyone writes down how much money they think they would do it for. The closest without going over wins.
And the reason that I picked this as a starting game is that I thought, okay, we'll come here. For those who want to know a bit more about Chris, who want to know a bit more about the history of this game and how it was made, we'll be talking about it for half an hour. This is something that I thought we'd just do for all the games. Just kind of chat about them for half an hour before we then dive into Discord and play the games with everyone. And if there's like a video chat, if you join the Discord, it is... Oops, where's my little banner? It's stuffbybez.com/Discord, and if you click that, then it will take you to the Discord as a redirect. And so There's video chat there, which is a really cool feature that they have added on recently. And we get to negotiate, and just it's a nice game for getting to know you, exactly what Chris said. And so that's why I picked that as the first game. Let's talk about this one that was designed by Alan Paull and Dave Mortimer.
Yeah, can I just share my screen? Because I've got it on there.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, I think we can do that, can't we? Because we have the sophisticated technology of doing that. There we go. That's the that's the game. Yes. We Dave Mortimer designed a game called The Cousins War about 3 or 4 years ago, and we took it on at Surprise Day as it's effectively the first one of our Pocket Campaigns series, and that was a very from everyone's point of view quite a surprise hit. Now it's a bit of a bizarre one because apparently Dave said he'd taken it to lots of companies and nobody wanted to publish it, and I played it with him when he pitched it, and I thought, well, this is brilliant. And I just couldn't understand why people didn't want to take it on. So we published it and we sold out the first edition in like 4 months.
Nice.
And so we did a second edition, teamed up with Two Tomatoes and Frosted Games in Spain and Germany, respectively, and published second edition. So when Dave came to me and said, why don't we do one together like The Cousins War, but he had this idea of having an asymmetric one. I said, well, yeah, let's do this. And it struck me that having a setting of Ming China would really work, because there you've got the Chinese who have lots of information about what's going on in their bit of the world, and then the barbarians, the other player, they don't know much what's going on in the wider world, not in internal China things. You can have an automatic asymmetric thing here, where the Ming are trying to do their treasure fleet voyages, where they visit like all the way across to India and East Africa and places. In the meantime, you can have the traditional Chinese border barbarian attacks, so you can have a completely asymmetric field game. So we designed that, and we decided it would be a neat idea if we could do a solo mode. Ideally, we'd want to have a solo mode for both sides, but as it happened, we couldn't make a really interesting solo mode for a barbarian solo player. So there is in the box a solo game where you're the emperor, and a 2-player game where you're either the emperor or the barbarians. And we've kept it more or less the same size as The Cousins War, and it's part of our Pocket Campaigns series of games. Lots of depth of play in a small box is what we've aimed at.
Nice.
And I think one really interesting thing is you can sort of see with Twilight Squabble, obviously Dave's been very much inspired by Twilight Struggle, but that kind of system of the way the cards work does very much follow here. And there's a lovely thing of asymmetric information where, as the Emperor, you know what the barbarians are going to be getting. And all the new cards come in via the Emperor, which is a really nice system.
Yeah, that's an example. So it's a typical multifunction, Twilight Struggle type thing, where you either spend you use the card for the command points, which is 1, 2, or 3, or you do the text event, either the barbarian one with the dagger, if you're on the barbarian side, or the Ming one. But the Ming ones are key to I'm not going to explain the whole game. The Ming ones are key to the voyage. So if you've done Voyage 5, you can use this event. If you haven't done Voyage 5, you can't. And like Twilight Struggle, if you play this, if I'm the Emperor and I play this, the barbarians will get their event in my turn. So you have to be quite careful about how you play things. And
there's a lot to think about. The reason that I had you show this game is basically because I wanted to say, let's not just have the lighter stuff. Let's have something that, okay, it's sad, it is 2-player only, but it is very meaty. And so there's hopefully something there for everyone today. So I don't know if you're going to possibly have to introduce some sort of queue system, because you'll only be able to teach it to 2 people at a time, I guess.
Yeah, that's yes. We can have a
like we'll work out some system.
We'll work out some form of. It only takes what, half an hour, 3/4 an hour. So we could probably do
and like if you start teaching it to some people, like once they've made a few turns, you could always pop out, because that's the way that Tabletopia works. And there is a special code for Tabletopia. I don't know if where everyone can have lots of games on the go at once now.
Oh right, I didn't know that. That's good.
I'll have to find that thing, but
I've got a solo table and a 2-player table, and I can teach both. Well, not at the same time, but I can teach both of them.
So I think Alan could teach everyone, but sequentially, starting at 2 p.m. is the basic idea. And then we go to Q4U, which I will skim over because Isaac Shalev isn't here, but we were having a development chat yesterday. Isaac is making a whole bunch of changes, making it a bit harder. Last time we played, Xate basically got perfect rounds every round and was amazing at it. So we're like, okay, Isaac, yeah, Bez, I see what you've done. You've started off with the easiest possible settings. Well, I'm going to have like some easy combinations of letters. Anyway, taking a step back, what is this game? This game, you get a topic, and that topic might be, what's a good pizza topping? And then there are certain fragments of letters that if you use that in your answer, you get bonus points. You also get points for how long your answer is. So you want to be the longest, well, that you can, but without being the longest between everyone. Almost like a push your luck. So if you are 20 letters long and everyone else is 17, then you don't get anything. Whereas if everyone else was, if like one person was 20, one person was 17, and everyone else was 5, then, you know, the person who's 17 is obviously laughing. So it's that little bit of push your luck, that little bit of how long do you need to be to fit these fragments in. And yeah, perfection isn't normal. You are abnormal, Xate. That is what I'm saying. So congratulations on being super extraordinary.
Would you like, which level would you like? Easy, medium, hard, Xate.
maybe there should be the X8 handicap.
X8, yeah.
Like most of us will play on easy and medium. X8 plays on their own level.
You don't want to be normal. Normal's boring.
Well, you know, for people playing for the first time, you know. Give them some sense of hope before, you know, really pressing them.
Tell us about the 4th game, Emily.
So this is Dead and Breakfast. It is basically a tile laying game where you are building your own bed and breakfast. But the catch is that your hotel is full of people who need to be scared by certain monsters, and then you earn points. So the more you scare someone, the more points you get. So you're building this 5x5 grid, which is your hotel, and there's lots of different people in the windows, and you need to match them up with their monsters. There are also vines growing over the hotel, and you want to link the right coloured flowers back to your front door, which again scores you points. It's a really fun game. It's illustrated by Louis Durant, who I think did a really amazing job, because it like really hits the mark between like cute and spooky. It's not, you know, it's not an 18 rated horror game, but you know, there's a little bit of fun there. And yeah, I really like it. It's a really, people call it a filler, and it is a filler game. It's great.
Nothing wrong with the filler game.
There is nothing wrong with a filler. Everyone needs a filler game.
In fact, I would argue any of Bez's Wibble games, technically speaking, it could be a stocking filler, but it's also it's full of loads of potential and fun, and it sounds like Dead and Breakfast. Like, I might, if I'm free, I might sneak in and have a game myself.
Definitely join us. It's really fun, and there's this amazing. Let me find him. Oh no, I don't have him in this copy. This was our prototype copy. There's a big ghost meeple who actually broke the machine at the factory because he was so big. But he moves across the tiles and blocks certain options for you. He's really fun.
That's cool.
And
Should I say that's cool?
Well done. Well done.
No.
Everyone gets extra points for puns on
and
stream.
hello, Ed Artwin. It's thanks. Ed Artwin said that they're watching us on YouTube and typing along in the Discord, which is actually quite a fun way that the chat. But yeah, it does look spool. No, I'm sorry. I think you already had it, Jason.
Hey!
There's,
Did I spook you away from those puns?
I think we can teach. I think we can teach lots of people, can't we? Actually, at the same time, because we can have people can watch on screen.
Yeah, I mean, in the half hour before your thing,
we can teach
for those people who. So, let me quickly say about Dead and Breakfast that. Oh, and hello, Dave. Dave's doing exactly the same, having just found the Discord link. And welcome to the Discord, Dave.
Awesome.
And so, Dead and Breakfast, whilst yes, it's a filler, it's not a party game. It does have strategic decisions. I read through the rules, I looked at it, I familiarized myself with it before, saying, okay, that's cool. I trust yous, but I wanted to make sure that I've got some familiarity with all the games. And it's like, okay, I didn't talk about the last one. So the last one is Nano Muckell. There's no specific picture for Nano Muckell, but this is too many cards for Nano Muckell. Because, Jason, how many cards is Nano Muckell?
8!
Yes.
And I've even cracked open my... I'm trying to moderate the chat as well. I'm about to share the Discord link to those watching, so just hold a second for those watching. I've actually cracked open the second edition of the Wibble box that I've had for a couple of years. I've kept it nice and safe. I thought I'd open it today for this.
Oh, so you opened show us a second edition Wibble.
Second edition. I do have the first edition in a little box that I use these for musicians because they're clumsy. They tend to drop them. So on these cards, you've got 2 letters, and each round you can choose one of these letters, not both, just one. And the idea is to create the longest word you can. You can have many strings as you like, but you get a point per letter in your word. You can't put it in the middle. You have to put it at the end, but you can cross things off at the end if it becomes gobbledygook. For example, if you had sung you could have cross off that A and have sung. Also, you get an extra point for each letter, double the points for your longest word, to give you a nice rounded big figure. And you have 3 wild cards to fill in. So it's all about thinking ahead and not overcomplicating the word, as I am prone to do. Don't trap yourself in on a word. That's the trick.
And
yeah,
because it's got the X.
I like fox with socks.
Now,
that's what you meant to say.
It's a weird thing. I'll talk all about the history of it at 4:30. I've already shared it a bit on this stream, but here's a really short game. It takes about maybe 10 minutes maximum for your first game.
Unless you're nattering as a stream.
Yeah.
In fact, games last longer.
Of Nano Muckell.
Yeah, because we've been nattering. That's all. That's why.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Micro Muckell?
No, I'm thinking Nano Muckell. I've never lasted longer than 10 minutes once. But again, we were nattering while we were playing. So
yeah, Nano Muckell is a variant of Mickle. So we started with Mickle, then we made. Well, many a Mickle makes a Muckle, and so because many a Mickle makes a Muckle, and the point is that I made with this lockdown, just started playing it with lots of people because that's the way I wanted to go. So it's like, okay, could you play Remote Muckell, just writing it on the words, and then did Mini Muckell, which was half the cards, and then Nano Muckell is 8 cards, and that's it. And Hello Mandela, it is absolutely a variant of Mickle or Muckle. And so we've got a mixture of games. We've got a couple of wordy games. We've got a couple of party games where you're able to just say funny things and make your friends laugh. We've got, a couple of games which are a bit more intense, which are a bit more about making these strategic decisions and evaluating your strategic decisions against other people. I mean, yes, you've got little bits of that in Nano Muckell, but for people who think of board games, Ming Voyages or Dead and Breakfast is probably going to be a little bit closer to what they think of in the hobbyist game market. And so I do hope that there is something for everyone, and that's why I had everyone here. So at this point, do we have any is there any questions in the chat? Feel free to ask us any questions, and I'll pose them to everyone. Other than that, is there anything that you would like to say at this point before we start wrapping up? Chris?
If you have, whether you are a designer or a playtester, we'd love to have you in the virtual playtesting group. We meet Mondays and Thursdays for a long time, as long as people are around, basically. And we are we're Discord groups, so we do a lot of stuff in Tabletop Simulator. And if you're at all interested, you can check out virtualplaytesting.com for more about the group.
And sorry, misclicks. Is there anything in particular that you're excited for today? Any of the games other than your own that you think you will want to have a week over?
Definitely enjoy Coup for you. It's always nice to feel to like use a lot of the different parts of the words, the double consonants and whatnot. It's a game that makes you feel really clever.
And this will be Isaac Shalev demoing it, and they will come up with a few changes that I have no idea what they're doing, but it's a mixture of things. And Isaac is a really brilliant mind, so I'm excited to see what they're doing. Alan, anything you would like to share, give a shout out to, and any other games that you're looking forward to playing other than your own?
Well, just a quick shout out. Look, we will be at Spiel Digital. I don't know if anybody else is coming to Spiel Digital, which is only terrifyingly short time away. So we'll have stand there if anybody wants to drop by, and we're hoping to run some live stream. Well, we are going to be running some live streams there. So with Bez, hopefully on one of them as well. So
we're going to be there on Thursday afternoon, right?
I think that's right. Yep. I'm just been trying to write the schedule out, but yeah. So I'd quite like to try all of these games if I get time. Depends on how much time I get from doing the Ming Voyages. When are we actually starting, Bez?
Well, we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay. Oh, okay. Don't want to jump the gun there. Sorry.
It's all good. Honestly, if people want to start playing now, then after we finish up, they could. Xate says they will be at Spiel also, teaching Groot and Kruitergarten and Lady Kruitergarten.
Close enough.
And Lady und die Tiger. Mandela says they managed to attend your group once. Chris, seems like a great resource and well run. Congratulations on getting that running.
I would very much like to go, Chris. I did say that when we met at Virtually Expo, and I haven't done it yet, and I'm conscious I haven't yet. But I would like to do that. I will endeavour to do that.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Kruitergarten.
Kruitergarten.
I think you're saying garden rather than garden.
No, that's my tease. Sorry.
Oh, okay. But
I watch too many American things.
Oh, thank you. Well said, Bez.
Yeah, Bez said it well correctly.
And yeah, Emily, anything you would like to...
Yeah, so we have Dinner Breakfast on sale from today until Halloween. So you can grab it for £16 and it's free shipping within the UK as well. And this morning I launched a really fun Halloween pop culture quiz that people can enter to win a copy as well, that I'm really excited about. It's another one of my ridiculous schemes. But people can go to braincrackgames.com/Halloween and then they can find out about the sale and the quiz there as well.
And my hope is that everyone goes into the Discord and posts all the links in your Discord channels if they aren't there already, and share them. Yeah, quiz. Oh, sorry. So yeah, that basically. Jason, is there anything else that you would like to say?
As a sneaky, Nano Muckell said will be the focus, but that if you're not so keen on spelling games, or after we played a game of Nano Muckell, you're welcome to hang around a bit longer and ask for another L game. I do have personal favourites that are Fable and Phrasal. I'm very fond of the abstract story narrating games, and I'm not quiet about it. But I would be happy to demonstrate some other L games, though the focus is on Nano. I've got to say that, otherwise I'll get told off. No, Bez isn't mean. But yeah. So do come along. Just even if you're not good with word games, there is probably something for you in the L deck.
And yeah, we've got the 2-player rules that are being linked to. Thank you very much for that, Alan. And yeah, that brings us pretty much to the end. So I would like to say we've talked about games being brilliant. We've talked about lovely conversations we've had, managing to do bits of spreadsheet things that we maybe don't particularly want to do, although Alex apparently wants to do them because Alex is weird. Sorry, Alex. You know I love you. And we talked about new games that have been made, which sound quite exciting with unprinted components. Awards won, duvets, and anniversaries, and playtesting. We had talks about first memories and our names and what they mean, our gaming origins, our current relationship with games, and why we joined this. And yeah, I'm hoping that this will be a fun day. I'm hoping it will be a day of playing games and making friends, fostering connections, and, you know, developing tighter bonds with lovely people. And that's the thing. If you go into the Discord, I think the rules are basically be kind, like basically be cool, you know, generally, like, you know, if you be honest, like be yourself, please, with your name, if it's not already set as that, have your name as what you actually like to be called. And so if it's a company name, if you could change it so that you have your actual first name, like that you like to be called, and then you could put your company name in square brackets, that's totally fine. That's basically it for the rules. Any other rules that I'm forgetting, Jason?
If you are comfortable with doing it, please also put your pronouns in your nickname. It will help us to make sure we don't misgender you. So as you can see, when the banners are up, or if you go to the Discord, you'll see that Bez and I have and others have got their pronouns in brackets. It's a very useful thing to do.
And so yeah, that is basically us. I want to say thank you, everyone. I mean, this is a bit of a different blether because, you know, we're actually blethering, and then we're going to be coming back in a wee bit. I think, what did I do for Best Day? I can't remember. Did I stop and then restart? That seems so long ago. It was only 2 months.
Yeah, I think there was a mini stop, because otherwise you wouldn't have had lunch.
Yeah, I definitely stopped for lunch, and then the second day it was definitely tight, like getting my lunch. But this is a bit more relaxed. It's just going to be like, okay. And so the schedule, let me share the schedule. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been parts of the audience. A massive thank you to, obviously, Chris, Alan, Emily, Lewis, who isn't here just at the moment, Isaac, who isn't here, Jason, and Tom for like helping out. And thank you to everyone who's like just spending a bit of time, because it's like kind of spending time with friends. It's like kind of showing the importance, if you know what I mean, of these people. And then so on the Discord, this is what's going to be happening. So anytime you want, as of like when we stop this, jump in and you can play one of these various games if these people are around. But officially, we will be definitely starting some games of how much, game, which can take literally everyone, of how much money at 1 p.m, Ming Voyages at 2, Q4U at 3, Dead and Breakfast at 4, Nano Muckell at 5. But you will be able to try those games, especially Ming Voyages, which only takes 2 people, and Dead and Breakfast, which only takes 4 at a time. Because the other 3, you could play them all day if you wanted, with just one big group. And, I'm sure that if there's people wanting to play Ming Voyages all day, then and officially finish at 6 p.m. And we're going to have a small ceremony here with everyone coming back and jumping in. But yeah, that after 6 p.m, like if you peeps want to carry on showing off those games, or use your channels that are created to kind of tell folk about what you're doing and everything. And then the stream schedule here, we've already had the introductions. We're going to be back here in a couple of hours, 1 hour 45-ish, to chat about how much money before it gets played. And then we'll chat about Ming Voyages for half an hour before maybe like it'll be a teaching time. I don't know. Well, probably teaching will be part of it, but also about the history, about what these people had to do with these games. And then if you want to see Chris, then hop on at 5 p.m. And basically, between like 1 p.m, it'll probably be me just filling time on the Discord. So I wouldn't recommend watching on the Twitch, on the stream. So yeah, that's the stream. But like, if you want to play games, there will be lots of games being played. So please go there and join in. So I hope that makes sense to everyone.
Please do come and play Nano Muckell. I've invested in a whiteboard specifically for today.
Nice.
Oh, people say that on Bez Day, I did apparently stop for an hour or maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, about that.
And yeah, people are not sure if they want to see Chris, but secretly adding things to see to their calendar. So, yeah, I'm going to be looking at the stream afterwards to see what sorts of hijinks Chris gets up to. They will be under some rules.
Hijinks?
Anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always safe for work. Then.
Oh, sorry, that is Chris with a K.
Oh.
So this is the other
they might
Chris.
be. They will, I can't speak for them.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be here when you're on the stream. It's like the other Chris.
I will need to have lunch. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah,
but...
I'll be needing lunch. I'll be needing lunch. So,
and so, yeah, I'm going to say quickly before we start off, let's do my typical wrap up. I want to say, over to you. What are you up to? Share something, only if you want to. So in the chat, if you want to share something before we say properly goodbye, then please share anything which you want, whether it's exciting, trivial, important, or just fun. If anyone would. Yep, Chris is here at 5. Any other things that you want to share, Jason?
Well, I'm going to do a little bit of a self-plug because I'm ever so slightly cheeky. So I don't know whether anyone knows this, but I'm a composer. And I've been plugging myself for a while on this channel because I do game-based, some games for musicians. And I'm slowly updating my website, so there'll be lots of PDFs coming on in the next few weeks because it's finally back up and running. So if you go to Jason Hodgson, that's HODGSON.com, you should find some scores. You'll find a link to a currently that is not good. Is that your internet or my internet?
That's your internet. I went here. You can find Jason H. Composer on Twitter, and the link will
It should be
hopefully
working.
work at some points in the near future.
It's loading up fine my end, and I've checked it on a stuff, so I'll have a look. But yeah, it will work. I'm actually going to go to my brother, who's my tech, and go, "Oi, can you get this working again?" And you'll also find a link to a podcast which is currently incomplete because of COVID. We haven't been able to access software that's very fancy. But if you can check out Adventures and Artists, which is a D&D podcast with live improvised music on top of it, or live reaction / improvised music, which has been great fun to make. And we're hoping we can continue for a second season and finish the first season next year, but he's hoping. So yeah, check out all this stuff, and there's also Rubik's Cube piece, and excellent. So you're able to load it. Fantastic. So I think it's maybe
Weird.
just Bez End. That's bizarre.
But Chris, any final words before we say bye-bye?
Pizza.
Alan.
Favourite topping, Chris?
Cheese.
Alan, you're muted.
Thank you. Yes, I'm getting all my muting in error out of the way early. On a slightly mercenary front, if you want to buy our games, they're available from all good shops, obviously, and online shops. But I've also put a link to our stand in the private chat. I don't know if you're allowed to display that.
Yeah.
That'll be really helpful. So if anyone wants to buy it, we are still running our special Virtually Expo offer for it, which we will be running over Spiel Digital. We'll probably have to rename the shop to the SSG shop for Spiel Digital, I think, but that's available from there. All of our games are available from there. Thank you very much.
Emily,
See you later.
final words?
Just that I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try and have the stream on even when we're not on, so I can try and play along, hopefully, because I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day.
Well, I hope that everyone has a wonderful day. Remember, stuffbybez.com/Discord. If you haven't gone on there yet and you're watching this, I haven't done my job very well, clearly. If you want to find out about the next streams, look at stuffbybez.com/streams. Tomorrow I'm talking to Tiz, but I'll tell you about that at the end of tonight. And I'm talking about to a bunch of people every day at 10 a.m. You know the drill. Share, spread the word. Yeah, get your friends to come to the Discord, stuffbybez.com/Discord. And there's only one thing left to do. Well, first I want to check to see if there's any good musicians to recommend on the Twitch while we have our lunch break. Oh, Amadeus is streaming. Okay, I'm going to suggest Amadeus music to everyone. So this is that. If you're on Twitch, go to Amadeus Music. And if you're not, then for now, all that's left to say is bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, bye. Bye, bye, this is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye.
Time for bestie bye-byes. Time for bestie bye-byes. Time for bestie bye-byes. Time for bestie bye-byes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.